G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because the single most important test match in the entire calendar year in 2024 is upon us this weekend. And it is the #1 ranked team always, the Wallabies, versus the reigning, the defending, the most successful Rugby World Cup team in history, the mighty Springboks, this weekend in my backyard at Lang Park, right in front of the Wally Lewis statue. And boy, everybody knows, in the world of rugby, right? The only thing worse than losing to the Springboks is losing to the Wallabies. Because you know for a fact, when you lose to the Wallabies, something has gone wrong in your own team, okay? And that is the conundrum, that is the fear that is inside every heart of the South African side that is going to be on the field this weekend. Especially the new guy, the guy that's going to crumble under the pressure, in my opinion, in the name of Sasha Fangberg Ngomezulu. We shall see. The pressure cooker is on, it's turned up. This is going to be a game played during the daytime. In Brisbane, it's going to be 22 degrees, nice, hot, and steamy. And yeah, when the pressure comes on, the ball gets a bit greasy, and things can go anywhere you like. And just remember, the only thing worse than losing to the Springboks is losing to the Wallabies in this entire world. Okay? There's nothing worse than that. Nothing worse. So, with that being said, let's have a look at some of the news. Bad news for the Wallabies. Lucky for all of you Afrikaners, okay? Bad news for the Wallabies. Oh my god, I just broke my heart when I saw this news. So, Taniela Tupou, the #1 ranked tight head prop in the world. Yeah, I know, he was going to come out and destroy the Springboks. Lucky for you, his father passed away really unfortunately, and he's not able to play this weekend. So yeah, we might see him next week in Perfectang, in the Western Cape Town. But hey, you know, this week, lucky for you, he's not going to be there. But we won't need him. We will not need him. The scrum is going to be the contentious fact, one of the most important fact of the game this weekend. But yeah, the Wallabies has a lot of work to do there. But I do think that we'll have a little bit of advantage in the back line, and we shall see how that's going to play out. Another big loss for the Wallabies as well. Obviously, Fraser McRae has this issue already, known already. Thumb issue. Fraser McRae, grown up local boy in Brisbane. This will be a huge match for him. And obviously the captain as well. Liam Wright has been out for quite some time now already. Another guy who would have been very proud Queenslander to going out there this weekend. And yeah, that is, you know, despite that, I think the Springboks is still going to be should not be take this game lightly, because I think the Wallabies still has plenty, especially after the absolute disgraceful disaster that is the Queensland performance against the Blues in the State of Origin match. A lot of the Queenslanders, it's out there looking for some blood, looking for some revenge, looking to get the steam out of the system. The stadium is already sold out in Brisbane. This hasn't happened for like 11 years. So this is an absolute monumental match for Wallabies, for Australia, and for the Queenslanders. They want to see this one win. They need to see this one win. And a lot of the players on the field are Queenslanders in heritage, in background, in tradition. And this is not going to be a match they're going to go down like the bloody Maroons did against, in a disgraceful performance against the Blues in the State of Origin. So this is it. This is something that everybody is hinging on. And I think that the Wallabies will have to go to another level to try to win this match. And despite all of that, you know, as a proud Australian, we are very happy that there are some new law changes. Super Rugby laws has been introduced, you know, it's just part of the game. We changed the laws just before the big game against the Springboks to our advantage. I am not ashamed to say that, right? I have been a strong support of that. We sandpaper the ball as well, right? But, you know, I think that a lot of people will disagree with me, but I thought definitely we should sandpaper the ball before the game, just in case, to make sure that we win this one. But hey, changing the laws is also something that we really enjoy, something that definitely will be advantageous to the Wallabies, because these laws are already being played, some of the laws, not all of it, already being played in Australia under Super Rugby. The 20-minute red card is going to be played this weekend. To a lot of people's misunderstanding, the 20-minute red cards only applies to rugby incidents like accidental head-on-head collisions and so on and so forth, and it will be TMO bunker reviewed, and then a player will be able to be replaced, not coming back onto the field. The same player can't come back. We'll be able to place about another player. So in the case So yes, and the players will be able to play with the full complement back in 15, but not with the player that's been sent off with the red, unlike the yellow. And also there is still full red card, like full send off in a situation where it's obviously egregious, like, you know, punching a player or calling the referee a, you know, fucking cheat, like Dylan Hartley did to Wayne Barnes a number of years ago. Probably a decade ago now at this point. And yeah, so things like that, you're still going to get sent off for full red card, not able to come back on, and you have only 14 player for the remainder of the game. This is something that, this is a very heavily pushed by. This is literally I would like to call this the Stan Sport commentary clause. Crooked line out will no longer be, you know, penalized or you know, short arm penalized, because if the opposition don't contest. So if you don't jump to contest the throw and the throw is crooked, you can just play on. This is something that the Stan Sport clause has been complaining about for a long time, because quite frankly, some of the Australian lineout operators are not that clinical. So yeah, this is a great advantage. Again, fully support this to help the Australian side. And also there is another change of the law, is that the halfback will not be you're not able to contest the halfback anymore. And this is something that World Rugby has introduced. I don't know how this is gonna go, but I think this is probably gonna detract some of the pressure around the rucks. I don't know which team is gonna benefit here, because you know, if you allow the halfback to just interrupt, you know, not able to disrupt the halfback, and you're just gonna have the team easily retain the ball. I don't know how this is gonna go. I think this is probably not gonna favor either teams. Maybe favor the Springboks a little bit. But yeah, we'll have to see how this one goes. So you can't contest the halfback anymore. And specifically in the scrummaging, the halfback has to stay behind the center of the scrum, where the tunnel is. So if the scrum wheels, I'm guessing the halfback can move forward, but he can no longer follow the ball like they used to, and then just like try to tackle the other halfback as soon as they pick up the ball. So you can't do that anymore. So it gives more protection there. But yeah, I really don't like this law. It's just discouraging contest, something that I do not like. So outside of that, that's pretty much the big changes for this weekend. Obviously the shot clock's going to be implemented for the weekend for everything. There'll be 30-second shot clock for scrum and lineouts, 60 seconds for a penalty, and 90 seconds for a conversion. So yeah, so that is still the same with the they changed it to 60 seconds conversion actually. Instead of 90 seconds, it used to be normally this 90 seconds, so it's jumped down to 60 seconds as well. Same, inconsistent with the goal kicking as well there. So moving on, the obviously we'll talk about Suncorp Stadium, somewhere where one game loss in 11 tests at Suncorp Stadium, and that was against the British and Irish Lions. So this is already looking pretty bad. In addition to the Springboks record in Australia hasn't been good, especially recently, has been going a lot worse, especially when Dave Rennie was in charge. The Springboks dropped 3 tests in a row in Australia, something that nobody was expecting, and then only to finally pull back one in Sydney a couple of years ago. And that's just the record. All of those 3 games prior to losing to Australia, they were expected to win like quite handsomely. So it's not something that, including this one, 30 points to 17, that was pretty much almost considered like a blowout in that one. Like that was a very easy win for Australia at the same Suncorp Stadium, Lang Park East Suncorp Stadium. So that's going to be interesting there. So also the referee this weekend is going to be Luke Pearce from England. This guy, like I said, he is. My mic might be a bit too loud, but if it's too loud, let me know. I think it is too loud, but anyway, too late now. So Luke Pearce has been a referee who's been really well from England. And not too much of an issue. Hopefully we bribed him, but I don't know if he's going to take Australian dollars. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so I don't think he'll favor either team, but maybe he will favor, because he works within the frameworks of the English side. But he has had work with Springboks already this year in the opening test match against Ireland. And I thought it was pretty fair in that one, except for a few, physical tackles that some of the Irish were not happy about. But overall, I thought it was okay. Nothing too outrageous. And yeah, the weather of the week, like already mentioned about, it's going to be hot, it's going to be steamy, it's going to play, the gods of rugby knows that this is an important match, and he has decided to stop raining. It's going to be raining all week. It's going to be stopped temporarily for the game. Okay, that is how important this game match. God himself has stopped the rain to make sure that we'll have a good conditions to play. So on Saturday, it will be mostly sunny. It's going to be played at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's going to be 21 degrees, nice, hot, and steamy. It's literally going to be steamy because it's going to be wet moisture left from the rain in previous days. And it's going to literally steam up. And yeah, we'll see how that's going to go. That's going to be a little bit brutal in terms of conditions. So now, let's have a talk about the players. Let's have a talk about who's had the privilege and pleasure to represent their country in this monumental test match of a rugby game. Now, first up in the front rowers, this is the most important critical contest for the Wallabies. The Wallabies, if this part don't completely fall apart and become a one-sided penalty fest for the Springboks, the Wallabies is really in for a chance. And if the Springboks really just able to squeeze this one key area, the Wallabies really, yeah, it could just be a one-sided affair for the Springboks. And, you know, there's something, you know, Springboks, even when things are tough for them, they always rely on their scrum to get them out of trouble with the penalties. So, Kailea has been called up to the starting position at number 1 jersey. The Wallabies has favored to put some of the more experienced players, Jem Slipper, on the bench, just because of the fact that you know, just for the fact that the Springboks has a better props coming off the bench. So yeah, to a lot of people's surprise, the Springboks has more informed props from club rugby on the bench to try to squeeze out those penalty wins immediately coming off. So Isaiah Kailea comes in number 1. Ox Enche, the secret weapon, has moved up to the starting position, 176.76 centimeters tall, so he's going to have a bit of a high advantage over Al Alatoa at 185 centimeters. Matt Fazzler comes in number 2, a proud Queenslander, and he will be licking his chops for this match. Al Alatoa comes in number 3. The scrummaging wise, both of these players were off the bench against Wales, Al Alatoa and Kailea. The dominance just not there without Tupou, so this is a big question mark. And again, Al Alatoa has improved a little bit with his performance from the start of the World Series to later in the World Series. He has become more dominant, so hopefully that technique continues to improve, and this will be a big test for him this weekend. The key area for Allen is to not overextend against Enche, because Allen is shorter, so it's very easy for him to overextend on the engagement and really putting himself in a bit of an exposed situation, especially you know, with his hooker, and that's something that Enche will be looking for. Bungi Munabi comes in number 2, and Franz Maherba, the big boy, the steady, solid ruck, will be at number 3 jersey. So Kailea would not be, I don't think it's going to be too technical from his side of the battle against Franz Maherba. It would just be a pure battle of size, and he does have the size to the match, 129 kilos, 132, but the technical battle is going to be between Al Alatoa and Ox Enche. Look for the wheel from the loose hair side from the Springboks in the weekend. Coming in lockdown, Nick Frost has been called in the starting position. He has been absolutely spectacular in Super Rugby. I was a little bit surprised he wasn't in the starting position against Wales, but yeah, I'm surely, you know, Joe Schmidt had a plan. He has been the most consistent player in terms of stealing lineouts in Super Rugby against just about any team, including New Zealand teams. So yeah, it's very good to see him at number 4, and that disruption, especially in the Springboks lineout, will be a key area that I will be targeting with Nick Frost. Luke Msaka Lotu had tremendous season so far for the Rebels and did a really good job against the Welsh, so really earned that number 5 jersey. A guy who's playing in Brisbane right now, so he could be, like, you know, a adopted Queenslander, so he will be very proud to run out there in Suncorp Stadium. Even Edsbeth coming number 4, Achias Neyman. There was some rumors in my chat that said he was injured. Apparently he's been replaced, but I'm not sure. I couldn't find any news articles that says that, so he might be changed going to the game, but it is what it is. The big thing here is the physicality. The physicality from Achias Neyman and Eben Edsbeth is going to be something that the Wallabies hasn't experienced so far this season with the Welsh test. So this is going to be a very brutal, especially out of these 2 guys, with carries, with lineouts, with mauls. Everything these guys do are just absolutely brutal at the breakdown. So that's one thing that the Wallabies needs to lift up in their performance. Coming the loose forwards, and now Ralph Valentini is moved to the loose set forward position. And it's interesting because the Wallabies has opted for more size in that loose forward setup. Carlos Tazzano caught in at number 7, and he's been reported as a feel loose you know, what do they call it? A few loose screws on his head. So someone with, again, just physicality, someone with that, you know, that brutal mentality in mind, someone who don't care about physicality, who don't really, yeah, someone who just gets down there and do some mongrel hard work is exactly what they're looking for. Without Fraser McRae, I do think that the technical aspect of the breakdown might be a bit of an issue, but we'll see how this works. But the physicality is the main area they're trying to match here. And number 8, Harry Wilson, the guy who's been very, very physical for the Reds, very good ball handling, and something that can create a little bit of spark as well for the Wallabies. Sia Khaleesi coming number 6, and Peter Dutoit number 7. Alderai Lowe has been added in the number 8 spot. Peter Dutoit and Sia Khaleesi both physically dominant, especially Peter Dutoit in terms of that defensive, you know, prowess. Sia Khaleesi is a bit more offensively carry game, has a bit more there as well. And then Alderai Lowe is an addition to the Springboks due to his decent performance for the Bulls, as someone that I think is, again, just being given an opportunity due to his form. In the back line now, we've got Jay Gordon, the veteran, and number 9, Cobus Reinhardt, in some sense, a veteran as well for the Springboks, and both of these players will be holding hands to two much younger players. Noah Lolosio, Sasha Feinberg, and Ngomezulu are actually two very similar styles when it comes to 10. Both of them are very good at carrying the ball. Both of them are decent with the kicking game. Both are pretty good goal kickers as well. I think Sasha might be a little bit longer Sasha is a little bit longer in range, but the big difference between the two, yeah, and also both of them are a little bit lacking in their defense. Both of them are a little bit defensively and liability. So the both players will really look at improving their defensive issues so far this season. I think probably more for Lolosio, less of an extent to Sasha. But yeah, that's probably the key area that both players need to improve. And I think that's probably the key area both teams will try to exploit, is that both of the players' defense. Jake Gordon, Cobus Reinhardt as well. I don't think either, Jake Gordon specifically, not that great in defense, but really just having a bit more experience on the field. And then, yeah, the 9-10 channel, I think, is a bit of an area the Wallabies really have to look into, how they're going to manage that. Cobus Reinhardt, again, really fast. It's very, very dangerous around the rack, so he could potentially make a few plays where you pick and go and just attack the 9-10 channel himself, set up something there. So that's something to look out for the Springboks. And 11 jersey, Filipo Taugunu, someone who's been called in for his defensive prowess. He might not be the fastest player on the field, the fastest winger even, but his defense has been absolutely outstanding. He's been playing outside center for the Rebels, and he's, yeah, just significantly improved his ability in that defensive area. Curdy Alensa, on the other hand, he has been absolutely outstanding under the high ball attacking, but his defense has always been a little bit of an issue. So this, in that regards, I think the Wallabies might have a little bit of edge there. The speed-wise, Alensa is much faster than Filipo Taugunu, but defensively, I think that Wallabies gets a tick there. Center position at Hunter Paisami versus Damian Delenda. I think this one, in terms of attack, I think both guys are pretty even. Both are very brutal runners. Delenda definitely has a little bit of size advantage over Hunter Paisami, and a little bit height advantage as well. But Hunter Paisami has the advantage in terms of being able to become a second playmaker. Sometimes he does a bit of a kicking game, something that Delenda just really don't have. The kicking really not in the toolkit at all. So maybe the combination there between Paisami and Ling Ikitau will be looking for a bit of a kick behind, and Ikitau has been very successful for the Wallabies, just little kick behinds to set things up for Ikitau. So that'll be a massive move for them, and that'll be something that the Wallabies will be looking at. Defensively, I think that Damian Delenda is probably like one of the best, if not the best center in this defense in the world. Hunter Paisami, I think, is a little bit behind in that regard. Number 13, this is the Springbok killer here. Len Ikitau, he was instrumental in beating the Springboks in Brisbane last time, a couple of years ago, and this is, again, another opportunity for him to show. I think the kicking game from Paisami combination for him, just setting up some of those options, short ball options as well, is going to be really crucial in breaking through the defensive line for the Springboks. Jesse Crew, a guy that has been basically solidified himself for the Springboks number 13 jersey. A couple of years ago, people were saying that, why is Jesse Crew even selected for the Springboks? But he has really solidified that jersey because the fact that he's really good defensively. So we'll have to see how that's going to work. And I think that kicking game is going to be one way to break through that defensive oppression from especially rush defense against the Springboks in that regard. Yeah, coming number 14, Andrew Calloway, outstanding season, and he'll be probably working as a second fullback at some point. But again, he's going to be really good defensively. I think he's probably, again, something that needs to work on. all the Wallabies players need to work on their defense as something that needs to be improved as well. Cheslin Kobe comes number 14, really good on the high ball. Again, some guy he's probably the most dangerous guy in the world in terms of being able to create opportunity out of nowhere. So the kicking game has to be a little bit careful as to not just kick the ball to him and give him the space to do whatever he wants, and that's going to be a try for the Springboks. So that's going to be have to heavily manage how that's going to go. And finally, fullback position, two very different style of fullback. Tom Wright has been absolutely outstanding form this year, better than he was ever before. He's by far the most dangerous player on the field for the Wallabies, and you know, if the Springboks were to not manage their kicking game correctly, Tom Wright will carve you up with counter attack. He is that good this season. And defensively, Tom Wright has improved a lot, tremendously as well. So we have to see how that's going to play out for the Wallabies. Very different style in terms of how they want to manage in that fullback position. Willie LaRue comes in for the fullback for the Springboks as basically a second playmaker. He'll be managing the kicking game. He'll be moving up into the defensive attacking line to take off a lot of that workload from Sasha, and he's there to basically, as a guide. He's been doing this not just for Sasha, for pretty much the last couple of years now, 3 or 4 years now for the Springboks as a second playmaker. So that's his role. So this very different style there. Tom Wright will counter attack, whereas Willie LaRue less likely to do so there. Now, quickly, it goes through the back line now, the bomb squad for the Springboks. Malcolm Marks, despite a little fracture, he will be playing this weekend, number 16 jersey. George Shanassa, a Queenslander. He will be very proud to come on the bench to deal with the bomb squad. James Slipper, another Queenslander as well from TSS, playing next to his son, Zhang Nongor, another TSS player. Again, these two guys were so far apart. I think that, Zan Nongo is probably playing next to his childhood hero, next to James Slipper. I think I made this joke before, but anyway. So yeah, both players will be really crucial and interesting selection here to see Zan Nongo at number 18 instead of I think that the Queenslander theme is really strong in this four pack in this front row here, especially with Alex Hodgman not selected at all, the former All Blacks. He has the test cap already, and then lose their proposition as you know, and just have Zan Nongo here instead of Pongfa Mausili. And it's just very clear direction. They want the Queenslander here to feed on the crowd, feed on that pride to deal with the bomb squad. A lot of pressure will be coming in from Steenekamp, the most informed loose prop in the URC, and he was absolutely dominant in the URC. Huge platform base build for the Bulls. And he will be bringing that this weekend in the second half. A lot of pressure will be on Zane Nongo, another guy that's being absolute king of the dark arts. Vincent Koch being criticized in numerous games by numerous teams, by different nations, that he's sneaky boring in on the loose set, and we'll have to see if James Slipper, the old head, is going to be able to deal with that. I think that it's going to be difficult. I think James Slipper is going to have a very tough time this weekend against Vinny Koch in coming in from the tight head prop on that angle into the hooker. So George Shanessa is going to have a difficult time in the second half when it comes to that scrummaging. So yeah, we'll have to see how this is going to be dealt with. But yeah, hopefully the Queenslanders, the TSS old boys, will be able to do this for us. And we'll have to wait and see. In the other reserves now, Jeremy Williams has been moved to the bench. Again, emphasize for the Wallabies is to deal with the bomb squad. The more, the Jeremy Willis has been moved down as a result to deal with bomb squad. Luke Reimer has been called in from the Brumbies. Someone who he had a really good season for the Brumbies has been rewarded here at number 20 jersey. Ben Jason Dixon, because in the number 19, someone's been rewarded for his recently decent performance for the Springboks. Marco van Staden has been again very, very solid guy coming off the bench who can also double up as a hooker. Who knows, right? He could be playing anyway. And finally, the key bomb squad, the most impactful players of all impact plays, Huaga Smith coming number 21 to his more suited position. The way that he comes off to be able to break down, the speed that he brings from his former Sevens experience to really speed out the breakdown has given a lot of success for the Springboks at the Rugby World Cup. And once again, this will be the key area where the Springboks will be looking at winning the match. For the Wallabies, Tate McDermott, as a number 9 replacement, comes in at number 21, brings a lot of speed in a different area for the Wallabies in the back line, and this will be the emphasis. The Wallabies will be looking at bringing more speed in the back line to try to win the game. And Horang Williams, speaking of speed, probably the fastest player on the field. Sorry, I pronounced the name correctly. Horang Williams will be coming off the bench to replace someone who's already incredibly fast out of number 9 with Kobus Reinach, so we have to see if they're going to do that same, you know, they're going to, again, probably just targeting the 9-10 channel out of the 9 position a lot. Tom Liner getting his test cap. His dad is the most Queenslander of the Queenslander, born and raised in Brisbane. So Tom Liner will follow his dad's legacy to make his dad proud to play in front of Suncorp Stadium, coming in number 22. Oh, this is, I'm getting emotional just talking about this. You know, Tom Liner, his dad was so good. Anyway, next up, we've got Dylan Peach. Again, interesting to see that Joe Schmidt has opted for an additional winger in the setup to emphasize the wider channel speed, and I'm guessing probably emphasizing on that kicking game and just putting more pressure on that wider channels. Yeah, Dylan Peach will be coming in number 23, and instead of, you know, an additional center, maybe Josh Fluke, and yeah, and that's probably something that I probably was thinking about, maybe Josh Fluke as an additional center option. And yeah, but it's just not something that Joe Schmidt had in mind. He wanted to go even wider around the defensive prowess of, you know, of Damien De Linda and Jesse Krill. And finally, Handré Pollard, as we've already talked about. Finally, the Springboks, you know, Rassie Rasmus has his dream come true. He's able to play Handré Pollard as the only backline reserve due to the versatility Sasha Fangberg and Gomezulu brings to be able to cover 10 and 15. So Handré Pollard is finally able to come on as a 10 jersey in the second half to try to close out a few, especially if their game's close, try to close out the game with a few longer range kicks with that, you know, with that experience and calm head. And this is something that they could not do against England. When Handré Pollard was added into the squad, they had to put an additional back in. They had to play 5-3 to their dismay, because Handré Pollard, because they did not have someone like, you know, Sasha that can cover 10 and another and fullback on the field at that time. So this is something that the Springbok has been wanting to do for a very long time, and they're not able to do. And this, you know, the addition of Sasha Fangberg is something that I think will keep Rassie smiling in his dreams at night. Yeah, remember when Damien Willemse, the greatest Springbok in the history of Springboks, is was played at 10? Yeah, because that's the direction they wanted to take the team, and they're finally able to do that here this week for the first time in many years, and we'll have to see if that's going to pay out for them. So let me know your predictions, guys. I think this is going to be very tough for the Wallabies. My predictions, I've predicted my, you know, I would not change my predictions for a number of years, for a number of weeks ago, and that is I will not expect anything less than 44 points to 12 win for the Wallabies. So let me know your thoughts, let me know your predictions, like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, I'll see you guys later this week for the review. Have a good one. Cheers.